Hello, Dateables. Welcome to another episode of the Dateable podcast where we examine what's happening with modern dating. Who's doing what? Who's doing who? Why are they doing it?
Wow, that sounds so gossipy.
It's a
Like
spin-off.
we're now a reality TV series where
a
every
spin-off.
week we dissect the story of one person.
Did
This
you
could
see
be a reality TV series. I like
Lisa's hooking up with Greg and you're like, who are they? And I'll just say, my neighbors. You know, it's just like random gossip with people you don't even know.
it. This is our offshoot. This is our spin-off
Yeah.
series.
Our ratings are going to be really high. But I think you all will like this one. This one's about astrology. Our personality
Yes.
tests episode did really well. And I think astrology is one of those topics that maybe some people don't want to admit that they read their horoscope and, you know, study this stuff. But I think it's really cool. And there's something to be said about the study of astrology.
I have definitely gotten sucked into astrology TikTok where it's like people in rich. I remember like someone asking me, what are you seeing on TikTok? Because it's all like based off the algorithm of what you're looking at. And I was so embarrassed to admit that I have a lot of astrology TikTok coming up. But what I'd like to say is this conversation we had with Christina, I feel like TikTok astrology is just skimming the surface.
Yeah.
It went so much deeper than the Bustle articles or the Thought Catalog articles that I'll look at of like, what is your sign and who are you compatible with? So I'm glad that we dug deeper because I don't know, I think some of that's like guilty pleasure and it's sometimes comforting to read it, but I always was like, how much weight do I give this? But I feel like she just went like layers deep on this episode.
It's astounding to realize that there is a whole other world of astrology that we don't even know about, and you can devote your entire lifetime to learning more and more about it. Mm-hmm. It's the stars, it's the universe, it's how everything is related and connected. So it makes sense why it's such a deep, I don't even know how you call it. So many layers to astrology.
Well, I think one of the things we talk about that she brought up was the different seasons. So it's obviously your birth chart and how it affects you, but there's also the underlying, you know, as we go into different months of the calendar year, everyone, for instance, is in Libra season right now. And she was saying that it allowed her to have conversations because every season kind of represents different change that's happening in pieces of reflection point. And she was able to like have conversations with her partner and then have reflections on her own based on the season. So we are coming off of Libra season. I didn't even know this until we just looked this up right now. We are coming out of Libra season. And for anyone that's curious, Libra season is teaching you how to find belonging. This is the meaning of what Libra season represents, basically. Okay. So it's Libra season is teaching you how to find belonging with others while keeping the balance between connection and autonomy. Remember, you're not everyone's caretaker. You're responsible only for yourself. Be in a space of compassion with boundaries so you can so you can give from your overflow. So it's basically saying like you need to it's not selfish to put yourself first sometimes, and you actually can give more if you kind of honor that yourself and have that self-care.
I feel like some people really need to be hearing this right now. So you're welcome for us bringing it to your attention. You're not other people's caregiver, and you are not responsible for other people. You are only responsible for yourself. And I know a lot of people who have the hero complex, who see people as projects when it comes to dating and say they want to fix someone. I've also heard this phrase of, you know, this notion of if only this person could see how great I am for them, then they'll appreciate all I've done for them. It doesn't, if others are not aligned with your values and what you're looking for, they're never going to appreciate what you're giving to them. So I think what you're reading to me is sometimes you got to give a little bit less and use that surplus for yourself as well. So you got to love yourself before you can love others.
I think I struggled with this for a long time because I think I am kind of a natural caretaker. I'm a Cancer, so we talk about that in this episode in great detail. But I think there is this notion that sometimes putting your needs ahead of others is selfish.
Yeah.
Especially like, if someone isn't in the best place, for instance. And it's taken me a long time to realize that it's not selfish, and it actually allows you to like be a better partner and, to maintain your own happiness, which can really only come from within. As you and I just got off of a spoiler alert for next week, a happiness expert. So I think I think it's this reframing that this is selfish, but it's really a way that you actually can give more to people.
And when you give so much, it inevitably builds up resentment, because then you feel like it's unequal. You feel like your partner's constantly taking. Why haven't they stepped up? When you haven't communicated that, you're just the one giving and giving. So maybe it's a good season to pause and reframe and give yourself a little bit more.
But you have to do this quickly because we're actually coming out of Libra season. So now that we've given you all the reflections to do this, you have
to do this.
6 hours to go do it. But we are actually headed into Scorpio season. So Scorpio season is, as the zodiac's fixed water sign, Scorpio season is serving emotional intensity, raw thrills, and deep transformations.
Whoa.
It's important to embrace the influx of emotional realness, even if it's scary, because if you don't, it's likely to come out via passive aggressiveness, jealousy, power struggles, or obsessions. So it's really all about you like coming to terms with emotions that are happening for you.
Wow. Okay. So you're going to start feeling things.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
I read somewhere too, it's like the season of transformation, of some change, of some shifts, which actually kind of makes sense that, we're going into like closer to the holiday season here too.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of reflection time, changing of the seasons, changing of the year. I think we will be probably diving into ourselves a little deeper in this season. So that, you're right, that does make a lot of sense. So for anybody who is dating during cuffing season, because we are also officially in cuffing season, maybe it's also a good time to not fill up your calendar with too many dates. Take the moments to reflect and reconnect with yourself and get in a good place before you get yourself out there again, or not. But I think it makes sense. We're coming off a season where you should place the focus back on yourself, and then going into another season where it's, let's use that reflection for good.
I do like this notion of the seasons. Like, I'll admit this isn't something that I've really paid much attention to until now. I think that's why I'm even like struggling to get the words out of what these mean. But I like it because it means that nothing's forever, that everything is just a season, exactly that. And I think sometimes when things aren't going our way, it's easy to feel like it's going to be forever, but to remember that it's just a moment in time, and it will pass and things will change. And that doesn't mean that if you are super happy that next season's going to be horrible, but it means that like life is just evolving in consistently different seasons.
Yes, nothing's permanent. And it's gives me a little bit of anxiety, but also I'm rest assured that things never stay the way they are forever. So yeah, it's good to know there are so many seasons, and there's a reason for that. There's a season today too, so it's your horoscope season.
You ain't really wanted to go through our horoscopes.
I really want to go through horoscopes. I read them on a daily basis. I will admit I go through LUK because I was told by a friend that they have the most accurate horoscopes. I don't know what that means. But here's yours, Julie. Curb your enabling tendencies today. Ooh. A needy loved one may attempt to strong-arm you into prioritizing their needs over your own. Wow. this all very much related. But unless this is truly a crisis, don't allow your boundaries to be crossed. If you feel like you're constantly bailing someone out, encourage them to foster a sense of independence, point them to resources that will empower them to solve their own problems instead of constantly leaning on you.
Wow, I think that actually is pretty accurate of me.
Is it?
I do. I think the one thing about horoscopes, when we go into them, and our guest Christina was not a fan of horoscopes because she's like,
she used to write them.
Yeah, she's not a fan. But I do think, okay, like, yes, why she wasn't a fan is that they're very general and people will find what works for them in them.
Yeah.
But I do think I am the type of person that wants to fix things a lot of times. And I think I've learned that I need to like relinquish control in relationships and just everything. And I think that's what sometimes we were actually diving into this in our Finding Your Person program. And I think a lot of people struggle with control. And that's one of the reasons that dating can be so hard, because you're almost like need to relinquish that control. And you need to trust that other person's going to step up and do the things that they say they're going to do. And I think like all of that does tie into what you just said, is that I need to just trust that someone's got it, you know, and I don't need to be the person that's always there and doing all the things. Like, people are capable human beings, right?
Yes. Does that feel freeing to know that?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's like, when you think about it, I think a lot of times you think like we can help and we can do it. And I think, yeah, that's the benefit of relationships and connections. And this is romantic relationships. This is friendship. This is every type of relationship. The benefit is that you do have that person to lean on, right? And to talk to. But I think it really has to come from within anyways. And I always need to remember that like all the people are, you know, even if I wasn't there, they would get through it.
Yeah. I think about the volleyball analogy. You can't get someone to spike the ball, but you can set up the ball for them to spike. And it's the same thing. You can't do everything for other people because they don't think like you, but you can certainly empower them to find their way.
And give them that love and support. And that's the benefit that you're providing. That's the only benefit. You can't go through the motions for someone.
It's so true. It's so true. That's great. Well, that's a pretty good horoscope. Here's mine. Try a little tact, Aquarius.
Dying.
While you may have a salient critique that would help someone out of their current situation, be diplomatic when it comes to your delivery. Overly candid statements could come across as harsh today, as powerful Pluto butts heads with fiery Mars. Don't limit your assessment to the things that aren't working. Incorporate more positive praise into the mix.
So are you going to deliver like a blood statement to me like tomorrow?
No, I know exactly where this applies to. It's work. It's work. I'm very direct with my communication. And in Chinese, it translates to 直. Like, people would describe you're very 直. It means direct. Even that word just sounds very direct. And I understand that some people don't take that as well. And it could come off not very friendly sometimes when I just want to communicate how something can be better. But there are different ways to deliver that news. Actually, my partner has said the same thing to me. He thinks I'm very direct and I need to soften my approach. So yes, I will. You know what? I'm going to put some cushions around my words today. That's what I'll do.
There we go. Okay, so I think the beauty of horoscopes is, though, you can find within it what applies to your personal situation.
Yep.
And I think, it shouldn't be the ruler of how life is going to go. We talk about this in the episode, but I found these like very, black and white article that was like, these 4 signs are going to end their relationship by October 15th. And I'm like, that feels so aggressive to me. I think what's nice about astrology is this point of reflection.
Yes. And with all of these, like the personality test, the schemas test too, I think it gives you a different perspective about who you are. And maybe we should read them as starting with the word maybe, you know, instead of like, this is definitive. I don't think we should take horoscopes as like a decision maker for us, but maybe it does open up another door for us to think about something a little bit differently.
Right. And I think we've heard this too on especially schemas, because it is, you know, thoughts and beliefs that a lot of people are like, there's something wrong with me because I have them. Yeah. And there isn't anything wrong. There's no like horoscope. There's no schema that's better or worse than another. They're just different. And the idea is that there might be some positives with whatever that is. And there may be some areas, I don't even want to say negatives, but areas to be aware of, to work on. There's not, and I think if you're only if you're not seeing any of those areas to work on, like how can you grow as a human? So I don't think people need to take them as like there's something flawed with me because I have them. Everyone has something. There is a horoscope for everyone, or sorry, there's a sign for everyone. There's not like 1 month that doesn't have one, right?
No, that's Capricorn. It's people will agree. Capricorns are going to be alone forever. No, just kidding. I think it's because of the Capricorns I've dated in the past. Like, no, it's a bad sign.
A Capricorn just cried right now. Okay, quick announcement. So at Dateable Podcast, that's the place to follow us. We put up all the good clips of our guests. That's always fun to look at. Follow us on YouTube if you want to see our lovely faces, our recording arrangements, the facial expressions we make when we record. So many good things on YouTube.
It's really thrilling. You're missing out if you haven't seen our facial expressions.
Definitely missing out. So get on that. And then, of course, Love in the Time of Corona by the Dateable Podcast is the Facebook group and the sounding board. I'm going to do a quick PSA on the sounding board because we've had a little confusion here. You do need to go to dateablepodcast.com/sounding board and sign up. It is a paid subscription. You can cancel at any time, so you know it's totally risk-free, but you do need to pay for that because it is more of our premium community where there are hosted events that happen, virtual events every week. There's the weekly sound-offs that are led by our wonderful host team, and then UA and I also do office hours to answer any questions. We've had a lot of people trying to join the Facebook group directly without signing up. We'd love to have you. We just need you to sign up. So go to dateablepodcast.com/sounding board. Once you sign up, we'll let you right in. You can join in the fun.
What a lovely PSA. Doesn't it just make you want to sign up, folks?
I just hate sending the message. It's like, hey, we don't have you in our system, so try to get ahead of it.
Also, sharing is caring. We love it when you share our podcast with your friends or colleagues or frenemies that you think should be listening. It's such a great way to start conversations and to even bond over some of the topics. Julie and I spend our time discussing the topics even after we record the episodes because some of them are just so complex that you want to spend more time talking about it all. So share a link, share our Instagram, share whatever you like. I'm sure your friend or frenemy would also appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's another PSA for the sounding board because I feel like one of the things in the sounding board is the weekly podcast discussion group. And I think a lot of people have really enjoyed those because it does let everyone go a little deeper than just listening. You have that sounding board to kind of bounce off ideas and talk more in depth and the revelations you've had from listening, all of that around a guided topic.